KYT's Kentucky Newsmakers. As we all know, the Laurel County area continues to deal with a tragic, deadly, and destructive tornado that hit earlier last month. Help came rushing in from across Kentucky and around the nation, and state lawmakers have pledged a sustained effort to rebuild and support folks there. State Senator Brandon Storm is a Republican from Laurel County, and he's joining us today on Kentucky Newsmakers. So this is your home, Senator, so you know it very well. First of all, how do you describe where things stand in Laurel County now after the disastrous tornado?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thank you for having me, and I want to send my condolences to everyone who perished in this awful incident. But I think the community's really come together, to be honest with you. I've seen people just out there, picking up debris. I've seen individuals that elderly out there doing that. So really the whole community's really come together, I think, and there's a bond. I told someone the other day, you can see photographs, you can see imagery on social media, but until you're there, you really can't comprehend the destruction and the magnitude of the destruction.
What was your personal experience on that night?
Sure. So my wife and I were actually in Denver. I was at a judicial conference where I'm the chair of judiciary. And so I was there, and my children, though, were at home. My in-laws were home at our house, and we watched it actually on the news. My wife and I did, moving across Somerset into Laurel County. So we called the kids, made sure we were in contact with them, and just said, make sure you're in the basement. And so, it was just so graphic listening to them, on the other end of the phone. And so, which is very traumatic. We immediately tried to book a flight back home, and I was able to get back the next evening. But we sat in the airport for hours trying to get back home, and so very, very scared. You don't know what you're going to walk up to or what you're going to see. And then as we drove through the neighborhood that night, and when we got back, it was just destruction everywhere. It was really unbelievable.
Tell us through the numbers. You have some estimates, and it is just incredible the number of homes that are damaged or destroyed.
Yes, so right now the estimates appear to be 1,530 homes have sustained damage, and what happened was the Kentucky State Police did a flyover with a video, and it's amazing. I was able to watch that, but they flew over the path of the tornado, and then our PVA actually overlaid the property lines, and so you can see the road names pop up and the property lines pop up, and so 1,530 homes or properties were impacted. Of that, 280 homes were totally destroyed, 195 have major damage, 133 have minor damage, 134 were affected, and then there's another data entry where 75 were somehow impacted. Now, that's in the direct tornado path, and I would like to point out a lot of homes have residual effects. So we had debris in our yard. We had large metal from metal buildings in our neighborhood all throughout the area, and so there's another probably 713 homes that have had residual damage. And so it's just, again, something that's unprecedented in our area.
Senator, what are people to do in your area, particularly the ones who had their homes destroyed?
Yeah, so we have a lot of wonderful volunteers that have come in. We have a lot of professionals that have come in to try to help manage this and mitigate this. And so we have, I've tried to share it on my social media. If someone needs a home, obviously reach out to the professionals, but you're welcome to reach out to me. We have FEMA trailers that are being set up now. We have some wonderful people in our community who've actually stepped up and are paying for people's hotel rooms. We have other individuals who've stepped up, and they're helping those who didn't have insurance. And so I think the first thing to do is to file your insurance claim and then work with FEMA to determine if there's going to be any relief that either of those two entities can offer. And then we have people in our community that just stepped up and said if they can't be helped there, we'll help them ourselves.
Just anecdotally, as you've talked with people, do most seem to plan to want to go back and rebuild where they were?
I think so, yeah. You have people, especially in some of these subdivisions, that have been there for 20, 30 years, and so they want to go back to that area where they were from. And nothing like this had ever happened in those areas to my knowledge, so it wasn't like something that's happened time and time and time again. This is just so out of the ordinary. Going from Somerset all the way through the National Forest into this area, and if you look at it, Laurel County on a map, and you look at the subdivisions, it's almost like it hit most of the subdivisions where there's a lot of houses. So it's very strange, but those people, that's where their home is, and they want to go back to that area.
You grew up there, went to South Laurel High School, so you have to have such mixed emotions in seeing the destruction and what has happened to your home area, but at the same time, it has to be inspiring how the people have come together, and then all of the help that's come from other areas.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The homes that I've seen destroyed, I go to church with those people. I've played in the yard with their kids in the past. My father's church was destroyed. My sister and brother-in-law go to church there. So again, it's very emotional when you see that area. I grew up at that church, went to that church as a child, and so it's very traumatic. But again, seeing the friends and seeing the people that have come in there, the outpouring of love and support for our community, it's really amazing. I've had people from all over the country contact me, check on me and my family, get them all the time, the text messages and the phone calls. Do you need anything? Does your community need anything? And so we've really had a lot of people step up and fill those voids.
The legislature has put some limits on how a governor can respond to a disaster situation, and limits on what can be spent. Can he effectively manage this with the available resources, given that we have had several natural disasters this year?
Yeah, so I think last session we increased the governor's emergency funding to $100 million, and that is quite a bit. I don't know what the expenditures are that the governor's office has utilized at this point. And, again, I think leadership and the governor and the General Assembly, we just need to sit down and come up with a conversation. I think conversations, communications, collaboration are the most important thing to do. And if the governor feels like there's more money that's necessary, then those conversations need to be had. If there's empirical data that he has that says, this is the expenditures that I've spent and I'm running out of money, again, those conversations need to be had. And so the General Assembly's always stepped up, in my experience, to help those folks in need in Western Kentucky with the tornadoes, Eastern Kentucky with the flooding, and then, if called upon, my colleagues and I will do everything we can to help our constituents.
There has been the promise that, that from the Senate President that the legislature will see this through. Do you think a special session may be required, or can this wait until the regular session?
Well, I think if there are needs that can be articulated and can be supported by data, then I'll let the leadership and the governor discuss that. If the governor feels like we need to come back in for a special session, I know that my colleagues and I will do everything in our power to do our jobs for our constituents. But again, I think it's going to require conversations, transparency, and again, empirical data to say this is what the General Assembly allocated $100 million, and this is what we're down to. And if there's a need there, then I think the General Assembly will step up to the plate. But I just don't know those numbers, unfortunately.
You serve on the banking and the insurance subcommittee there in the Senate. Will there be insurance issues to address after all these natural disasters?
Very possible. One of the issues that we did see in my hometown, and we've tried to address this in the past, is having some out-of-state folks show up in the wake of a tragedy. And there were some allegations, some rumors, and probably some verified allegations where individuals are trying to get homeowners whose livelihood, their homes or businesses, their cars had been totally destroyed, and they had tried to get them to sign documents to allow them to assign their benefits for their homeowners policies. And so Attorney General Coleman, I contacted him, and he stepped up, and he and I kind of did a joint press release about that, just trying to warn people, hey, watch out for bad actors. And so we don't want those people preying on our constituents. Those are my people, those are your people, those are our children, our grandparents, our parents. We want to protect them. So if we see that kind of activity going on, we are going to react. And we also had some looters that kind of came in and tried to take advantage of the situation. And so we also issued a stern warning to them that during an emergency, a natural disaster, penalties will be enhanced.
Do you foresee there may be some legislation required to make some of those things automatic?
I think so, yes. If it's not already there, we need to tighten it up a little bit. I think it's there, but the people need to be made aware of those issues, just so that they know who to call in that moment. When 911 might not be the appropriate mechanism, but the Attorney General's office could be the appropriate mechanism. Get that out there more to the people and be more transparent and publicize that more to the people.
Less than a minute left. What do you want people to know about the state response to this situation, your willingness to help in the community, and where people can go for resources, or how other people can help who do not live in the area affected?
Sure, yeah. So we have two great places in London right now. We've got a downtown city area that's by the airport. Volunteers can come there to volunteer. Supplies can be dropped off there, or supplies can be picked up. We also have a county area that's out toward the state police post and the old Food City location, and that's where, same thing, people can come in and volunteer. They can drop off supplies, they can pick supplies up. But our community is resilient. We're going to rebuild, and we have great partners in the people of the Commonwealth and our citizens.
Senator Brandon Storm, we thank you for coming. Appreciate it.